Our FEMA representatives, if y'all would give us your names.
Scott Sanders, I'm a FEMA Media Relations Manager.
Okay.
Lori Dana, I'm a Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Assistance Public Affairs Specialist.
Thank you. Welcome to Camden County. We'll go ahead and get into some questions that I really want to get into, because I've had a lot of questions from people from out throughout the community. A lot of it is just they don't know. Okay, and they still don't know. And so, for Georgia, how many people have filed claims across the state?
Well, it's kind of a moving target of a number, because so far we've had over 16,000 people register or request information from FEMA, and we've distributed and approved over $6 million. So that number is going to change, and it's constantly moving upward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I can't ask that because we don't know. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the average payout of what FEMA gives. Since we've had several natural disasters in the United States in the last 10 to 12 years, what is the average payout for an individual that, your typical person that, let's say their roof was just damaged, or maybe their home was flooded? I know those are two different situations, but what would be the average payout for somebody like that at this point?
Yeah, that's a hard number to try and pinpoint. Because it's the individual's assistance program, every person's going to have different needs, and they're going to have different levels of insurance coverage or lack of insurance coverage. So the Federal Disaster Assistance Individual Assistance Program is designed to help people who are either uninsured or underinsured to cover those costs associated with damage to their property, loss of personal property. So it can range from the maximum grant is $33,300 for this fiscal year, and that's determined by Congress. The other thing to realize is that federal disaster assistance can't duplicate assistance people might get from other sources like insurance.
Okay. So with all the different special things that come up and you guys have to tackle with all these different claims that are coming in, what is the most common thing that you all are seeing, and then what is the most common program or initiative within FEMA that addresses that?
Well, we're here at a disaster recovery center because people have questions about what kind of assistance is available. So in addition to FEMA grants to help people recover, there's also loans through the Small Business Administration.
And if you are referred to SBA from FEMA, we really encourage you to complete that application, because it's part of that process to get assistance. The SBA offers loans to homeowners for their primary residence of up to $200,000. That's to get it to the condition that it was before Hurricane Irma. Mm-hmm. Renters and homeowners can apply for loans up to $40,000 to replace personal property, and that includes cars, the contents of homes. Businesses of all sizes can apply for loans up to $2 million to repair or replace equipment, inventory, and their buildings. And small businesses can also apply for working capital loans to help them pay the bills that they would have been able to pay if the hurricane hadn't hit. They're very low interest, long-term loans. The loans for homeowners are as low as 1.75%. They try to make them as affordable as possible. But it is part of the process to complete that loan application, whether you think you want a loan or need a loan. That's part of the process. If you can't afford it, loan, you'll be referred back to FEMA for any other grant assistance that might be available as well. But you need to fill out that application.
Okay, and so that kind of goes into my next question. So are these programs designed to make people 100% whole?
Boy, we wish. There is no federal, state, or local program that's going to put people back where they were before the disaster, but through partnerships with private sector and faith-based groups, volunteer agencies, local, state, and federal programs, we can help people and communities recover and get back on their feet after a disaster.
Mm-hmm. Are there any programs that make people whole, like depending on your specific income level?
I don't think that there's any program that really makes people whole. I mean, I think the best we can do is help people recover, depending on the severity of damage and how much insurance people have. I think in the long run, it's about getting people back on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, it's kind of like one of my coworkers describes it as a three-legged stool. You've got FEMA assistance, you've got insurance, and you've got SBA, and all these things help you be able to stand on solid footing. You should register with FEMA and apply for SBA, even if you have insurance. It doesn't duplicate coverage, but it provides assistance for what the insurance doesn't cover.
That was going to be my next question. Are there specific supplemental programs that y'all are aware of that work with FEMA, that are not necessarily FEMA designated programs, but they supplement FEMA's effort?
Once people register with FEMA, and we encourage everybody to register using disasterassistance.gov, and they get in the system, then that helps us identify unmet needs, and the state coordinates volunteer agencies and other programs that may be available that aren't available through the federal government.
Okay. What if FEMA does find somebody ineligible, and what would be a typical example if somebody that's not eligible for FEMA?
One of the things that comes up is a vacation home. If you have a vacation home that was damaged by a disaster in a declared area, it's probably not going to be eligible for FEMA disaster assistance. It may be through private insurance, but those are the types of situations where the federal government just doesn't cover a vacation home. You would have to seek other sources of assistance.
But if you have a rental home, you can apply for an SBA loan as a small business.
Okay, and so you talked about the percentage rate being as low as 1.7%. How long are the loans? Are they 15 years? Are they 30 years?
30 years.
Okay.
So they try to make it as affordable as possible.
Okay. And then you talked about the rental process. But let's say somebody is a renter. We have a lot of renters here. Let's say somebody is a renter and they don't have renter's insurance. What does FEMA do for that? Or is there anything they can do?
Absolutely. So even if you're a renter, you can go ahead and register, again, disasterassistance.gov, and there's other needs assistance that might be available to replace personal property that was lost, especially if it's a specialized situation. Say you're a carpenter and you've lost your tools and you can't work. Those are the kinds of damages that might be covered with FEMA individual assistance.
Okay, and if someone receives a settlement from their insurance company but still has additional needs, what else can they do?
Again, registering with FEMA is the first step. You need to go ahead and settle with your insurance, or at least start that claims process. FEMA needs to know what the determination is from your insurance, what they cover and what they don't cover, because again, FEMA can't duplicate assistance that you might get from other sources.
However, you don't need to settle with your insurance in order to complete the SBA loan. In some cases, you can get some SBA funding to get started with the process, and then pay back that portion of the loan with the SBA with the insurance. It doesn't duplicate the coverage that your insurance has. But if you should at least apply before the deadline, because if you find out after the deadline that your insurance didn't cover all of the expenses that you have that application as
okay. All right, so fill out the application to see if you apply.
You have time to decide whether to accept the loan.
Okay, and this will be my last question. It's more of a scenario question, and it's kind of becoming common in some parts of Kingsland. You got a home. It was flooded last year in Matthew. Okay. We didn't qualify for FEMA assistance in Camden County because there was a density of disaster rule, or I'm paraphrasing. So basically there wasn't enough to deem us a disaster area. Less than a year later, we have Irma. Same situation happened with a home. Now they're being told that the home has to be condemned and bulldozed down because of raw sewage. Where would FEMA help those individuals out that have that situation?
Well, like I said, every situation is different. So if a home is condemned, that's done through the local governments. They make that determination. I would suggest certainly insurance would, contacting your insurance company would be my first line of assistance, but still registering with FEMA, there may be money available for home repair or replacement, and certainly an SBA loan in that situation would probably be the best bet for people to pursue. The other thing I would mention is the registration deadline is November the 14th, and we really encourage everyone to go ahead and register. You may think you have no damage. A lot of people have been evacuated. They haven't even back to their homes yet, and it may take some time for damage to become apparent. You might have a mold problem that you don't know about, and November the 15th comes around, and then you discover it, and now you're unable to register because the deadline's passed. So registration's pretty easy, doesn't cost a thing, and it puts you in the system.
And that November 14th deadline, was that a 60-day deadline after the storm happened? Okay.
Correct.
All right. Well, we do appreciate it, and we look forward to continue working with y'all. And how long are y'all here for?
You know, the standard answer is until we're not needed anymore.
Until we're not needed anymore.
So
okay.
we'll be here. FEMA will have a presence, and SBA will have a presence for the foreseeable future.
All right.
And there's, you know, we haven't, did we say where the disaster locations are?
Oh, the disaster location for Camden County.
And the disaster recovery centers, because there's 3 ways to apply for an SBA loan. You can, first of all, you register with FEMA, and you can apply online at sba.gov/disaster-assistance. You can also come to a disaster recovery center. There's one at the Camden Rec Center. You can also, for the SBA portion, you can go to the Business Recovery Center. There's one at the C Center, which is at 715 Bay Street in Brunswick. And you can also call 1-800-659-2955 and have an application mailed to you.
Okay, which we do appreciate it. Thank y'all very much.